Welcome to another session of Ditalk 2.0. Today we delve into a crucial and timely topic, disaster journalism. Our speaker, Nazrin will guide us through how media plays a critical role during disasters, informing the public, shaping response narratives and holding institutions accountable. She will explore the ethical responsibilities of journalists, challenges in reporting during crisis, and the evolving landscape of disaster coverage in all digital age. Without further ado, let's welcome Nazrin to the stage to take us through the insightful and relevant discussion.
Gulf War, when retreating Iraqi forces deliberately released millions of barrels of crude oil to the Persian Gulf and set hundreds of oil wells ablaze. Amid this man-made environmental catastrophe, a haunting image surfaced: a crow drenched in oil, broadcast by CNN, symbolizing the silent suffering of ecosystem caught in conflict. This single image became a powerful reminder of the untold stories in disaster zones and underscored the urgent need for informed, ethical, and courageous journalism. The 2013 flash flood in Uttarakhand, India showed how local reporting could expose infrastructural and planning failures in ecologically fragile regions. In these areas, disaster journalism was not just about breaking news. It became a force for public education, policy reform, ethical storytelling, and empowering communities to prepare, respond, and recover. Let's begin the topic. So, what is disaster journalism? It is the real-time communication of crisis, capturing the who, what, where, and why of disasters with clarity and urgency. Rooted in risk, impact, and resilience, it informs, alerts, and empowers communities, becoming a lifeline before, during, and after emergencies. Now let's move into the role of disaster journalism. The first one is inform the public. That is to provide accurate and timely information, because to inform the public about the disaster and its impact and consequence is very important. Then raise awareness. Educate the public about disaster and its consequence. Next one is support response and relief efforts. Amplify the voice of those affected. That is, give a platform to the people impacted by the disaster. Highlight the needs and gaps. Identify areas where assistance is needed and also report on the response efforts. Next one is foster resilience and recovery. Report on recovery efforts. Cover the progress of recovery and rebuilding efforts. This is an example of disaster journalism which is happened in 2010. It's a Haiti earthquake. By using disaster journalism, it improved awareness. It brought international attention to the earthquake's devastating impact, prompting a massive humanitarian response. It also highlighted humanitarian challenges. Journalists reported on the challenges faced by the aid organizations, including logistical hurdles, security concerns, and the need for sustainable recovery efforts. Ethics is very important in disaster journalism, and there are some key points. The first one is accuracy and verification. Verify information, that is, ensure accuracy and reliability of information, especially in this chaotic situation. Sources. Rely on credible sources like including officials, experts, or eyewitnesses. Sensitivity and respect. Respect the victims. Be sensitive to the trauma and suffering of those affected. Avoid sensationalism, because it is very important from refraining the sensational reporting which might worsen the situation. Privacy and confidentiality. Protect the identity of the trauma victims. Respect their privacy. Confidentiality. Maintain confidentiality when necessary, such as in cases with sensitive information. Objective and impartiality. Report fact without bias. Don't take any sides or promote any specific agendas. How disaster journalism helps in disaster management. First one is informing the public. As I already mentioned, it is important to promote accurate Second is supporting response efforts, collaboration with authorities, stakeholders, and aid organizations, promoting disaster resilience and mitigation. It is by raising awareness and science-based reporting. Holding authorities accountable, which means investigative reporting. It is to find that whether they. Next one is providing a platform for affected communities, amplifying the voices and humanizing the crisis. The evolving landscape of disaster coverage. First one is digital solutions for disaster risk reduction. Early warning system. Digital technologies like mobile apps, satellite observation, and drones are used. For example, in Kenya, early warning for all initiative uses these tools to improve disaster preparedness. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. AI-driven computational models and cloud-based data integration are being used to predict and detect extreme events. Enhancing disaster response and recovery. Drones. Drones enable remote sensing before and after disasters. Blockchain technology. Blockchain-based systems can verify information and records, allowing faster disaster response. Now, there are some job opportunities in disaster journalism. First one is disaster correspondent or field report. The role is in the ground coverage of natural or man-made disasters. These jobs are employed by news agencies like BBC, Al Jazeera, Hindu, etc. Next one is crisis communication specialist. It is about crafting official statements, updates, and risk messages during emergencies. Humanitarian content creator. It is to produce multimedia content like videos, blogs, infographics from disaster zones. Information officer or emergency communication officer. It coordinates a media flow and public info during disaster response operations. It is employed by WHO, UNICEF, World Food Programme, etc. Next job is disaster journalism educator. It is about teaching ethical reporting, trauma-informed journalism, and safety in conflict zones. Next one is risk communication analyst. It studies how information spread in disasters, evaluate communication strategies. Freelance crisis reporter. It is the independent coverage of high-impact disasters. It is often published in global media. In conclusion, disaster journalism plays a critical role in disaster management by providing accurate and timely information to the public, supporting response efforts, and promoting disaster resilience and mitigation. By using science-based reporting, disaster journalism promotes a deeper understanding of disaster risk and mitigation strategies, ultimately contributing to more effective disaster management and more resilient society. Through its work, disaster journalism helps to save life, reduce suffering, and support recovery efforts, making it an essential component of disaster response and management. Thank you.
We welcome your inquiries on the role of media in crisis situation, the ethics of reporting during emergencies, or any other aspect of disaster journalism. If anyone has any question, please feel free to ask now.
What are the challenges faced by these journalists in this field?
So the journalists face many challenges. The first one is difficulty in reaching the places because of blockage of roads, infrastructure damage, and it also involves physical and mental situation like facing the trauma, suffering, or even death. That's it.
Is there any role for science in disaster journalism?
Yes, there's a role for science in disaster journalism, as it is used for scientific research and risk assessment. For scientific research, it uses the scientific data, and for risk assessment, it uses scientific data to assess the potential consequences of a disaster.
I have two questions. First one is, do disaster journalism only means media? And the second one is, Do disaster research comes under this?
Actually, disaster journalism is about making reports of the disaster before, during, and after the disaster. While the disaster research is done by experts, for example, during Kerala flood, the media reports the incidents of a report while they use the data from the IIT colleges. Any more questions?
Thank you, Nazrin, for that insightful presentation on disaster journalism. Your discussion has highlighted now how responsible reporting, timely information, and ethical storytelling are vital in support disaster response, recovery, and resilience. With Ditalk 2.0, we continue to explore critical topics that shape modern approaches to disaster preparedness and response. Wishing everyone a great evening and see you in the next session. Thank you.